Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just kind of weird. I would suggest anybody that's doing this kind of thing. Just do music. What's what you feel like doing? Gar Brooks was the biggest star country music had ever seen. He sold more albums than Elvis Presley, filled stadiums around the world, and brought a rock and roll energy to a genre that had never seen anything music like it. He seemed invincible, the kind of artist who would never fade away. But time has a way of humbling even the greatest legends. Behind the record-breaking success and the image of the perfect family man, cracks were already beginning to form. The fame that made him a household name came with a price few people could see. As his career soared higher than anyone thought possible, the people closest to him were slipping further away. Eventually, the pressure became so overwhelming that he made a decision that stunned the music world deeply. Yet, even that would prove to be only the beginning. Years later, a controversy would emerge that threatened music, not just his reputation, but the legacy he had spent a lifetime building. At 64 years old, Brooks is facing battles that would leave you shocked. The making music of Gar Brooks. Troy G. Brooks was born on February 7, 1962 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and raised as the youngest of 6 children in a blended family in Yukon, Oklahoma. His mother, Colleen Carroll, was a country singer who had recorded for Capitol Records in the 1950s and performed on television shows like Ozark Jubilee. His father, Troy Raymond Brooks, Jr., worked as a draftsman in the oil industry and played guitar, teaching young Gar his first chords. Music was always present in the Brooks household. The family held regular talent nights where all the children participated, and G learned to play guitar and banjo at an early age. The creative side of his personality was nurtured, but so was a fierce work ethic. His parents' contrasting personalities shaped him in profound ways. His mother, Music, was the dreamer, the one who believed her children could fly. His father was a realist, the one who pulled him aside and reminded him that flying required a hell of a lot of work. The combination of dreaming and disciplined music would serve him well in the years to come. Despite the musical atmosphere at home, Brooks's primary interest as a young man was sports. He excelled in baseball, football, and track during his high school years. He attended Oklahoma State University on a track and field scholarship, specializing in the javelin throw. He graduated with a degree in advertising in 1984, a practical choice that reflected his father's influence, music. But while at OSU, he discovered something else. He began performing in local clubs with his roommate Ty England, and the response music from audiences was immediate and electric. In 1985, Brooks made his first trip to Nashville to break into country music. The dream that had been planted in childhood was now driving him forward. But the reality of the music industry hit him hard. He became so overwhelmed by intimidation and immediate rejection that he packed up and drove back to Oklahoma after only 23 hours. The defeat was embarrassing, but it did not break him. He returned to Oklahoma, married his college girlfriend Sandy Mall in 1986, and continued playing the local circuit, waiting for the right moment to try again. That moment came in 1987. Brooks returned to Nashville permanently, determined not to fail this time. He was rejected by every major label, but kept performing and building connections. In 1988, he agreed to perform at a writer's showcase at the legendary Bluebird Cafe. In the audience was Lynn Schultz, a Capitol Records executive, who had previously passed on signing Brooks. He was there to see another artist who never showed up. Instead, he saw Music G. Brooks. After the performance, Schultz approached Brooks and told him that maybe they had missed something. The next day, Brooks signed with Capitol Records. His self-titled debut album, Music, was released in April 1989. It introduced his signature blend of traditional country with arena rock, a sound that would define his career. The album yielded his first #1 hit, If Tomorrow Never Comes, and featured other favorites, music like The Dance. The album peaked at #2 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart and #13 on the Billboard 200. His sophomore album, No Fences, Music, was released in 1990 and changed everything. The album spent 23 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart and featured his Music Definitive Anthem, Friends in Low Places. The Thunder Rolls was also a hit, though its controversial music video was banned by Country Music Television and the Nashville network for its graphic scenes. The band only increased interest in the song and solidified music. Brooks's reputation as an artist who was not afraid to push boundaries. Brooks revolutionized country music performances music by adopting theatrical rock and roll stage elements. He used wireless headsets music to run freely across the stage. He swung from the rafters on ropes. He smashed guitars. His shows were not just concerts. They were spectacles music, and fans could not get enough. He became the best-selling solo artist in United States history, certified by the Recording Industry Association of America, with over 200 million domestic album sales, surpassing Elvis Presley. Music. He remains the only musical artist in history to achieve 9 albums certified as Diamond by the RA for selling over 10 million copies each. He has won 2 Grammy Awards and 17 American Music Awards, music, and holds the record for winning the Country Music Association Entertainer of the Year Award 7 times. But behind the records and the awards, Garth Brooks was fighting a different kind of battle. The collapse of music, his family, and the unraveling of his marriage would test him in ways that no stadium show could prepare him for. The collapse of his family. Brooks met his first music wife, Sandy Mall, while working as a bouncer at the Tumbleweed Ballroom in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The meeting was memorable. He had to break up a fight in the women's restroom, where Mall had gotten her fist stuck in a wood panel. The incident was strange, but it was also the beginning of something real. They started dating, and the connection was immediate. She was grounded, smart, and not impressed by his ambition. She saw him as a person, not a future star. The couple married on May 24, 1986, just before Brooks made his permanent relocation to Nashville to chase musical fame. The timing was not easy. She was committing to a man who had already been rejected by Nashville once and was about to try again. She believed in him, and that belief would be tested in ways neither of them could have anticipated. Together they had 3 daughters. Taylor Mayne Pearl, born in 1992, August Anna, born in 1994, and Allie Colleen, born in 1996. The girls were the center of their world, and Brooks has often spoken about how becoming a father changed him. But fatherhood could not save the marriage. As Brooks's career exploded into overnight global fame between 1989 and 1993, he was away from home up to 300 days a year. The road was a second home. The stadiums, the arenas, the endless cities blending into one another. It was all-consuming. Sandy was left completely isolated to raise their daughters alone. She managed the school music drop-offs, the doctor's appointments, the birthday parties, and the sleepless nights while her husband was on stage in front of thousands of screaming fans. The emotional disconnect music became unbearable. Sandy later stated in the 2019 documentary G. Brooks, "The road I'm on," that during the peak of his fame, he would come home from tours completely changed. It felt like she was married to a stranger. The man who left for the road was not the same man who returned. The fame had transformed him, and not in ways that made the marriage stronger. She said that he would be gone 8 to 10 weeks at a time, and when he came home, there would be #1 parties, award shows, or some other music event demanding his attention. Brooks has openly acknowledged that he struggled heavily to remain grounded under the intense adulation of millions of fans. The constant attention, the pressure, and the feeling of being pulled in 100 different directions, it all created a deep emotional and physical wedge between him and his wife. He has admitted that he didn't realize how hard it was for Sandy as he was finding fame. He was so caught up in a ride that he forgot to check on the person who was holding down the home front. After a lengthy period of separation, Brooks officially filed for divorce in Tennessee in November 2000, citing music irreconcilable differences as the primary cause. The announcement was made to the press, and the news shocked fans who had assumed the couple was solid. Brooks told Billboard at the time that they both agreed they needed to get divorced and that they were focusing on the impact it would have on the children. The divorce was finalized on December 17, 2001. The settlement was staggering. Brooks paid Sandy Mall a reported $125 million, making it one of the most expensive celebrity divorces music in history. The money was a reflection of the wealth he had accumulated during their marriage, but it could not compensate for the years of isolation and the emotional music distance that had grown between them. Despite the painful split, Brooks and Mal maintained an intense, structured co-parenting arrangement to keep stability for their children. They saw each other every single day, alternating parenting shifts at 7 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening. The schedule was demanding, but it worked. Their daughters grew up feeling loved by both parents, and the lines of communication never closed. The collapse of his first marriage was a devastating chapter in Brooks's life, but it was not the only tragedy that would test him. The years that followed would bring grief, loss, and struggles that no amount of money or fame could fix. The man who had conquered the music world was about to face battles music that would break him in ways that stadiums and awards never could. The personal life struggles and hidden griefs. Brooks' mother, Colleen Roy Carroll, was a 1950s country singer who had originally inspired his musical career. She had recorded for Capitol Records and had appeared on television shows like the Ozark Jubilee. She had been his first audience, his first critic, and his first believer. When she died from cancer on August 6, 1999, Brooks was shattered. The loss was so devastating that it served as a direct music catalyst for his retirement from music. He could not imagine performing without knowing that she was out there somewhere cheering him on. The woman who had planted the seed of music in his soul was gone, and he did not have the heart to music. Keep singing without her. In 2010, Brooks suffered another devastating loss. His father, Troy Raymond Brooks, Jr., passed away. His father had been an oil field worker and a United States Marine veteran. He had taught Garth his strict work ethic, his discipline, and his belief that nothing worth having music came without sacrifice. The loss of his father stripped G of his primary male anchor, the man who had shaped him, who had pulled him aside and told him that flying required work, was no longer there to guide him. In April of 2025, Brooks suffered a severe